everyone, welcome to my channel. My name is Itisha. In this video, we are going to learn everything there is to know about NavigationStack and SwiftUI. And I'm quite sure this is going to be the last NavigationStack tutorial you're ever going to have to watch. So prior to iOS 16, NavigationView was primarily used for managing navigation in SwiftUI, but it had its own limitations, like it was not really successful for complex and dynamic navigations. So as a replacement for NavigationView, NavigationStack was introduced in iOS 16 with some great APIs like NavigationDestination and NavigationPath. It provides better support for programmatic navigation and also enabled the navigation to be data-driven. Okay, cool. Enough of theory. Now let's jump onto Xcode and see it in action. Before jumping into implementation, let's first understand what exactly is a navigation stack. So just like Navigation View, Navigation Stack is also a SwiftUI view that is used to show a stack of views over a root view. So with Navigation Stack, when the user navigates from one view to another in your app, the new view gets added on top of the stack, and the topmost view is the one that is shown on the screen. And when the user clicks on the back button or any of the swipe gesture, the topmost view from the stack is removed. And the root view always stays at the bottom and cannot be removed. Now let's see how to implement Navigation Stack in SwiftUI. Let's say we want to show a list of TV series, which when clicked individually takes the person to a detailed view where the name of the series and its rating is displayed. So for that, we first have to create a model for this series. So I'll create a struct for it. I'll call it series, and it's going to conform to identifiable as well as hashable. Why identifiable? Because we are going to have a ID within it, which is going to be equal to UUID, and why hashable, that I will tell you later. And we are going to have two variables. One is the name, which is going to be of type string, and the other one is rating, which is of type double. Once we have done that, we also need to create a list of series that we want to display. So for that, we will create a variable, let's call it TV series, and it's going to be of type array, and each of the array elements is going to be of type series. Now after this, you can have as many series you want in your list that you want to display. We want to show a list of TV series, these TV series to the user. So we'll iterate through all of the array element, and let's call the individual element as series, and we'll display the name of the series as a text. So we'll use our series.name. Okay, so you can see all of our TV series are mentioned over here. So for implementing Navigation Stack, what we need to do is to wrap the root view within a Navigation Stack container. So let's wrap this particular one inside a Navigation Stack. You can also give a navigation title. So let's give the navigation title as, say, series. Okay. Now for moving from one screen to another, we will use a navigation link. So the initializer that you would have been using so far with NavigationView was the one which had a title key and a destination. Let's try to implement this particular one first and see if it is still working. So we will use our series.name here, and as a destination, let's say we want to show the text series.name. Okay, let's see if it is working. So if you click on Game of Thrones, you are taken to that particular view, and if you click on any other, you are taken to a view with the name of the TV series displayed. So this particular type of navigation is called a navigation based on views, and it still works with Navigation Stack as well. But to make our navigation more data driven, what we are going to use now is the initializer of NavigationLink, which has a value. But before implementing it, let's first try to understand how it works under the hood. So there are primarily two actors over here. First is a NavigationLink, which creates a tappable link and takes in two parameters. One is a value and the other one is a label. And for making this navigation data driven, the second actor is a NavigationDestination modifier, which defines the destination where we want to take the user based on some particular data. And this NavigationDestination modifier takes in two parameters again. One is the data and the other one is the destination. So based on which type of data this particular navigation destination would be called is defined within this data parameter, and the destination is the one where we want to take the user to. Now this value parameter that is being passed to the navigation link must conform to the hashable protocol. So when a person clicks on this navigation link, the value is being passed to the navigation destination modifier. And after that, what this modifier does is it checks if the type of data that is passed as a parameter matches with the type of the value that you are passing from the navigation link. If that is true, then in that particular case, the value is being passed to the destination and the respective destination is being shown to the user. Now let's see how this all is working out in our example. Now for our case, first we are going to remove this particular navigation link and we are going to use an initializer with a title and a value. So the title is going to be series.name and the value, you can pass the value as the series instance that we have. Now since we want the navigation to work for the type series, so after this we will define our navigation destination modifier, and you would see that it requires this hashable.protocol type. So we'll pass the type as series.self and the destination is going to be a view. So let's create that particular view over here. Let's use this series instance that we would receive, and the code we can simply create a VStack, and within the VStack we are going to display the name as well as the rating. Within a text we will show the series.name and also we will show the rating. So we will specify rating and we are going to use series.rating, and since this rating is a double, so let's give it a specifier. So we'll set the specifier as this one. Now let's see if it is working. So if you click on any of the TV series that you have, you can see that the name of the series is displayed as well as its rating is also displayed. So this screen that you're seeing right now is the root view, and when you click on any of the navigation link, the new view gets added on top of the stack and that particular view is then shown, and when we click on this back button, the topmost view is popped off from the stack. Now what if you have some other type of data other than this series? In that particular case, can you imagine what would happen? Let's try to implement it and see what happens. So let's say we have another model here, let's say for movies. It's going to be again of type identifiable as well as hashable. So I forgot to clearly mention why we were taking hashable over here. So when I was telling you how this navigation stack actually works, we talked about the value and we also discussed that the value should conform to the hashable protocol. Since we are passing this series over here in the value parameter and it should conform to the hashable protocol, that's why we also conform this particular series model to the hashable protocol. So similar to that, movie would also conform to hashable, and we are going to have a ID and we are also going to have a name of the series. Now let's create an array for movies as well. So we will have an array which is going to be where each element is going to be of type movie, and you can have elements within your array. So inside our list, let's create two different sections, one for TV series and one for movies, and this is how our UI looks. Now let's see if our navigation link for the movies is working or not. So if you click on this Star Wars, you can see it is not working, but if you are clicking on Breaking Bad, it's working. The reason behind that is the navigation destination modifier that we have specified would only work if the value is of type series. Now, in our case, the value is of type movie, and that is the reason why this particular navigation destination is not working. So for that, what we have to do is we can specify another navigation destination for the movies as well. So here we will specify the type as movie, and whenever there is a movie that we received from the navigation link, in that particular case I want to display the movie.name. Now let's see if it is working fine now. So if you click on any of the movies, you are taken to a view where your movie is being displayed. One other thing that I want to discuss about navigation stack is, with navigation stack we can also have multi-level navigation as well. For example, say when a person navigates to a movie, you want to show a list of TV series. So from a movie, a person can go to a TV series. So that thing is also doable with navigation stack. Let's see how. So let's say within your VStack, you want to show a list of TV series that you have. So what you can do, you can use this particular for each over here. And let's see if it is working fine. So if you navigate to a movie, you can see we are having a list of the TV series, and when you click on any of the TV series, you are taken to that particular view. So how that is being handled is again by this navigation destination that you have specified for series. So for all of the child views that are there, these navigation destinations would work if the type is either series or movie. So this is how we can achieve multi-level navigation with NavigationStack. One really cool aspect of NavigationStack that we want to discuss here is the programmatic navigation. What do I mean by that? So far you have seen that NavigationStack automatically handles all the tracking. It remembers the screens, the views that user have visited, so that the user can go back and forth very easily. Instead of letting the app completely manage the stack on its own, NavigationStack provides us the flexibility to bind this particular navigation stack to a state variable which we can modify, and let the user navigate based on the code rather than simply relying on user interactions like clicking on a navigation link. To achieve this programmatic navigation, we are going to make use of another initializer of this navigation stack, which takes in a path parameter, which is a binding to a state variable. So to which state variable it should bind to, we'll create that first. We'll create a state variable and call it path, and it is going to be equal to navigation path. Since we want our stack to contain different views which are based on different type of data, for example series, for example movies, this can be achieved with a different type of list which is called as navigation path that we have used over here. So this navigation path is a type erased list of data that represent the content of a navigation stack. If you don't know what type erased is, it simply means it can store a collection of items of different types provided they all conform to the hashable protocol. So that's why we have this movie and series conforming to the hashable, and it can be contained in our navigation path. Now, instead of this navigation path, you can also have a specific type as well. For example, movie or series. So if I say define it as a series and make it empty for now. So whenever you will click on a particular series, that will be added to this particular array that you have. But if you see, this movies won't work because this particular path variable can only hold value of type series. So that's why these are not working. So it is ideal to have this navigation path. Now with this path variable, we can also track the number of items that are there in our navigation stack. Let's see how. Outside this navigation path, if we create a text, let's have the text as number of views in the stack, and we can display the number of views with the path.count variable. So if now you click on say Star Wars, you can see the number of views in the stack is 1. If you further go to Game of Thrones, then a number of views in the stack is 2. If you go back, it will again come to 1, and if you again go back, it comes to 0. So this is how it works. We also have the flexibility now to append a view on the stack programmatically. For example, let's say when the person navigates to this series view, we create a button. Let's call it add a movie, which when clicks add a particular movie on the stack in the navigation stack. So we are going to use this path.append, and here we need to pass in a value. So let's pass in a movie over here. Let's add a new one. Let's say Deep Water. Now let's see how it works. If you go to Game of Thrones, you can see you are getting a button, add a movie, and when you click on it, this new movie view is being displayed. So this is the view that you are seeing right now. Again, if you go to Game of Thrones now, the number of views in the stack gets increased. Again, if you add a movie, the same movie Deep Water will get added, and that's how you are stacking more and more views in your stack. And if you want to go back, your number of views from the stack would get reduced. We can also programmatically remove the last view that is being added on the stack, or any n number of views from the stack as well, by using path.removeLast function. So if you create a button now here, again, let's call it go back, and here you use this path.removeLast. If you are using removeLast without any value inside it. That means only the last view added will get removed. But if you pass the value inside it as well, that means that number of views will get removed from your stack. So now again, if you go to Game of Thrones and if you add a movie, if you add Game of Thrones, now go back. So you can see this is removing the views from the stack. Now there is one thing that we are observing. In case we are deep down in our stack, if we want to directly come to the root view, that can also be achieved. So let's create a button for that. Go to Home. And here, to achieve this, you are going to give this path variable a value of navigation path only. So now if you click on this, if you click on add a movie, if you go to friends, now if you directly want to jump to the root view, that can be done. If you click on now go to home, all of the items that were there in the navigation stack will get popped off. Apart from this, there are some other features of navigation stack as well, which is achieved with the help of navigation path variable, like serializing the path, which means that if you want that when the user returns to your app, they should be shown the same screen they left on and stuff like that. So if you want to learn more about it, do let me know in the comments. I'll make a separate video on that. So that was all about navigation stack. Now I hope you would be able to use it in any application you work on, and I guarantee you have to use this if you're working with SwiftUI, because this is a really very fundamental concept in SwiftUI. So if you have enjoyed this video, make sure to leave a like and a subscribe, because it does really help me a lot. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one.